Every lesser-known Lovecraftian entities. Shoggoths. Shoggoths first appear in the story at the Mountains of Madness, where they are revealed to be huge, shape-shifting masses created long ago by an advanced race called the Elder Things. These beings designed Shoggoths to handle heavy labor and serve as tools for building vast cities. At first, Shoggoths obeyed their masters, but over time, they developed a kind of awareness that caused them to rebel. They are often described as giant blobs of dark, jelly-like matter that can form eyes, mouths, or limbs as needed. When they move, they make strange repeating sounds that some explorers swear sounded like words. This has led many to wonder if they have their own way of thinking, even if it is very different from ours. Shoggoths are incredibly strong, able to crush or dissolve anything in their way, and they can thrive in extreme conditions, including under the deepest oceans or in freezing polar regions. They do not follow any set shape, which can make them hard to look at for too long. Over the years, some cults in Lovecraft's world have tried to gain control over Shoggoths, hoping to use them for their own goals. This rarely works, because Shoggoths are too powerful and unpredictable. If one of these blobs breaks free, it can destroy entire communities before vanishing into the wild. Some stories suggest that Shoggoths still roam abandoned ruins, keeping to places where no sane traveler would go. They remain a constant reminder of how even the most intelligent beings can lose control over what they create, unleashing forces of chaos that do not care about human limits or fears. Migo. Migo are often called the fungi from Yuggoth, and they play a big role in the story The Whisperer in Darkness. They look like a blend of insect and fungus, with wings that allow them to fly through both the Earth's skies and the cold void of space. These beings are not just monsters that attack blindly. They have an advanced civilization spread across various planets, and they have come to Earth to gather resources and study us. Their technology is far beyond human science, and some Migo even take human brains, keeping them alive in special cylinders so they can converse over long distances. This method horrifies most people who learn about it, as it shows how little the Migo care about our sense of self or what it means to be alive. Despite their strange appearance, they can blend in by using illusions or waiting in remote mountain areas. Some humans join them willingly, hoping to learn advanced knowledge about the universe or gain access to the Migo's interplanetary travel. Others are taken by force and never seen again, apart from messages sent back through radio signals or even direct telepathy. In many stories, the Migo conduct experiments on people, and those experiments hint at a larger plan that humans can barely guess at. Their true purpose is often unclear, but they seem intent on collecting samples of Earth life, while also stopping anyone who discovers too much about their activities. This means that whenever signs of the Migo appear in an area, people either vanish or are silenced, leaving only rumors of large, buzzing shapes moving through the night sky. They stand out as a rare blend of cosmic threat and cold scientific curiosity, making them different from purely destructive Lovecraftian forces. Nightgaunts. Nightgaunts are eerie creatures that appear in both Lovecraft's dream cycle stories and some of his darker tales set in the waking world. They are usually described as black, faceless beings with smooth skin, long tails, and bat-like wings that allow them to swoop down on their victims. They do not speak or show any facial features at all, which makes them even more unsettling. In some accounts, they serve higher powers, carrying away those who enter certain forbidden areas or dreamscapes. People who encounter Nightgaunts report a strange sensation of being tickled or prodded by their claws, which might be a way for them to control those they capture. Despite their horrifying appearance, some tales suggest that Nightgaunts only carry out the orders of gods or entities beyond human understanding. They may guard portals that link different worlds, or keep watch over crypts that hold dangerous secrets. Their silent nature means they rarely show any signs of emotion or intent, so it is unclear if they act from loyalty, or if they are simply tools of larger forces. In one story, a dream traveler sees them patrolling the skies near a forbidden city, swooping down on anyone who dares to fly too close. In other accounts, they team up with ghouls or other nightmarish beings to snatch away travelers or trespassers. Because Nightgaunts appear both in dreams and sometimes in reality, people who see them might doubt their own sanity, wondering if they have merely imagined these winged fiends. Over time, fans have added more details to their lore, suggesting that Nightgaunts roam many planes of existence and can slip through the veil of sleep to drag unlucky dreamers into unknown regions. They remain one of Lovecraft's most unsettling creatures, defined by their utter silence and their ability to appear without warning. Hounds of Tindalos. Hounds of Tindalos are terrifying creatures that move through angles in space and time, allowing them to hunt victims across different eras or dimensions. They first appear in the story The Hounds of Tindalos, where a man who experiments with strange chemicals finds himself glimpsing ancient eras of Earth, His journey through hidden corners of reality alerts these creatures, and they begin to track him. What makes them so frightening is that they can appear in any sharp corner, any angle that exists in a room, or even in the angles made by walls and ceilings. This means that ordinary attempts to hide or lock doors will not help if the room contains any hard angles that they can slip through. They are described as part dog and part bat, with long, thin snouts and hollow eyes. Though each sighting may differ slightly, their aim is to reach anyone who has tampered with time or peered into forbidden knowledge, so they can feed on them. Some say the hounds leave behind a strange blue fluid on surfaces, marking where they have passed. This fluid may eat through matter, suggesting a connection to forces outside our normal laws of physics. Once a Hound of Tindalos locks onto a target, it is almost impossible to escape forever. Some doomed individuals try to hide in buildings with rounded walls, or block every corner in their rooms, but the hounds often find a way in. They have no interest in negotiation or cult worship. Unlike some other Lovecraftian entities, they exist to hunt and consume those who cross certain lines. Their power to move through time and space at will makes them a truly unstoppable threat, showing that curiosity about the universe can bring a fate worse than any simple death. The Color Out of Space Entity. The Color Out of Space Entity comes from a story about a strange glowing thing that arrives on Earth in a meteorite and settles in a remote farm. People cannot describe its color because it does not match any known shade or hue. When it lands, it taints the water, the crops, and even the animals that live nearby, causing them to twist in shape or become dull and lifeless. The family that runs the farm starts to feel uneasy, and their health declines as they drink the water and eat food grown in the poisoned soil. Over time, the color's influence spreads, making the land look drained or gray and causing fruit to glow in an unsettling way. Members of the household become unstable, sometimes staring into space or whispering about lights they see at night. This strange presence does not speak or show a clear form, yet it takes hold of living things in a slow, quiet manner. At one point, the color bursts from the well, shining with an otherworldly glow. The final moments are chaotic, as the color blasts off into the sky, leaving the farm in ruins and the few survivors in shock. In some later stories and adaptations, people suggest that small traces of this color still linger in the soil, causing sickness or strange growth in plants. Readers find this entity frightening because it is not a normal creature with teeth or tentacles, but rather a kind of energy that eats away at life itself without mercy. Flying Polyps. Flying polyps appear in the story The Shadow Out of Time, where they are said to be a bizarre race that once ruled parts of Earth long before humans. These beings are hard to describe because they are mostly invisible or look like shifting shapes that move through the air in ways that defy normal sense. Some accounts say they have tentacles or funnel-like openings that let them create powerful gusts of wind. The ruins of their ancient cities feature tall stone pillars and weird openings that hint at their ability to float or climb vertically without trouble. They do not speak through any language people can understand, but they can send out strange whistles or blasts of air that cause a deep sense of dread. The flying polyps had a long conflict with other races on Earth, including the great race of Yith, and they were eventually driven underground. Still, many believe they might awaken if their sealed structures are ever disturbed. Their ability to move in ways that ignore normal physics makes them especially scary because walls or locked doors mean little to them. Some explorers who stumble upon their deep tunnels report hearing sudden bursts of wind or seeing swirling shapes in the dark. Attempts to contact them end in terror because the flying polyps only seem interested in expanding their domain and wiping out anything that crosses their path. While they are not as famous as Cthulhu or other Lovecraftian gods, their hidden presence and their alien form of movement make them a nightmare. Great Race of Yith. The Great Race of Yith is a group of highly intelligent beings that appear in The Shadow Out of Time. They are unique because they can transfer their minds across time and space, moving into the bodies of other creatures, while sending those other minds into their own bodies. Long ago, they fled their original home and settled on ancient Earth, building vast cities filled with libraries and advanced knowledge. Members of the Great Race look strange, often described as tall cones with 4 appendages, 2 for gripping tools and 2 for moving around. At the top of the cone is a somewhat bulging upper part that holds sensory organs. Although their shape is alien, their real power lies in their advanced ability to swap minds with beings from different eras. This allows them to gather data from future ages, storing it in their records for reasons not fully understood. People who have been pulled into a Yithian body often report living in a huge city with giant hallways and odd devices, forced to study and record what they know of their own era. Meanwhile, the Yithian mind in the person's body might walk around in our time, collecting facts before returning. Some individuals go insane from the swap, while others write down what they remember of the Yithian city. In the lore, The great race fears the flying Polyps, who were their old enemies on Earth. The idea of an ancient race that spans millennia through mind transfers is both fascinating and unsettling. They are not human, but they show a deep curiosity about humanity's achievements and failures, using time itself like a tool for research. Byakhee. Byakhee are strange flying creatures, described in some of Lovecraft's expanded works and stories by other authors who build on his ideas. They have features of birds, insects, and reptilian beasts all mixed together, with leathery wings and hooked claws. These beings are often summoned through special rituals, using chants that call them from far-off regions of space or even other dimensions. Once summoned, they can serve as mounts to carry a sorcerer or cultist through the sky at tremendous speed, sometimes even taking them beyond Earth's atmosphere. Some say they come from the void near distant stars, where they drift until called upon. Unlike simpler monsters that just attack, Byakhee can be forced into carrying out tasks, but they are never safe to control. A person who cannot keep the correct ritual going might see the Byakhee turn on them in a flash of teeth and talons. The smell of these creatures is said to be strong and unpleasant, like a mix of decaying meat and chemicals, and their eyes glow in the dark. Their presence is often linked to signs in the sky, or strange lights that appear briefly before they vanish again. Because they travel so quickly, some believe they can slip through dimensions, carrying their riders to locations beyond normal space and time. Sorcerers who rely on Byakhee risk being taken too far, possibly never to return. Many cults in these stories see Byakhee as messengers or couriers for gods like Hastur, which ties them into the broader web of Lovecraft's cosmic horrors. They remind readers that even lesser-known creatures can open paths to realms where human life holds no meaning.